Okay, you're live, councillor.
Thank you very much. Welcome everyone to tonight's Planning and Environment Control meeting. My name is Nicholas, I'm the chair of the meeting. Just remind all participants of the house compliance. The meeting is being live streamed to the council YouTube channel, and by participating, you are consented to be recorded. If the fire alarm sounds, please use the meeting calmly by the nearest exit, which is through the doors on the right and out the main entrance. Toilets can be found at the door at the back of the room on the right. And when speaking, please can officers introduce themselves before speaking for the first time. And everyone make sure that you use your microphones for members of the audience to make sure you don't have to do that. We move on to item 1 of the agenda. Apologies for absence. We have apologies from Councillor Melton and Councillor Nimmer. And items with declaration of interest. Are there any declaration of interest? We have anything? No. Item number 3, minutes of the previous meeting, which was held on the 16th of September. Are the minutes of the previous meeting agreed? Agreed. Thank you very much. Before this with the agenda, just to everyone know that item 10, which was one Hammersmith Street, has been withdrawn by the applicant in writing, and so will not be determined by the committee today. And we will also be slightly amending the order of taking items today to accommodate the speakers that have joined us. So first we're going to have item 4, which is 23236 Northern Road, which is our plan. Then we move on to item 8, which is 87 Gateway Road. Then item 9, which is 10 Oxford Gate. And then we take items 5, 6, and 7. And that will do. We move on to item 4 and then Officer Roy, introduce the presentation.
Thank you, Chair. This item of motion to the patient cycle 230 to 236 Northern Road and 88 to 19 Lily Road. The application is several elements to it, but the summary is the top, it's 90 flats that created residential improvements. All this I think on various prevailing. But not unless I would with better, which is not as big for flats, it was the versus that I would do to 6 flats. We've got a reconfiguration of 3 new flats, first and second floors. Also got a replacement on the barrel in Road, which they started to restore the traffic rights with several flats. There's also a living site in the support of equipment, that's this presentation. We've got a warehouse with quite a lot and then replaced by 2-story fast-paced employment. It's a reduction of the very well. And also the really existing returns and there's this can't change. Besides so that also has lots of times very simple transports and stores with basically also just people I think that's a good thing. So it's the start, highlighted the red on the right hand side and then these layers are highlighted in yellow from part of the site. The site itself is in the town centre and will be from the visualization while we covers as well. Buildings C redeveloped the visual those layers and the conservation is in steps from the road, the roads itself, each program itself. Site itself is outside of conservation. This is an aerial project images. So you see the buildings in corner location, which are actually in the road and north of the road. At the punch the road, this road is this two-story structure, which is adjacent to the road outside the boundary lines between those 2 buildings. And we've got the punch also as a corner, which is to the mountain, it's north of the road, north of the road, as you can see the along street passage to the right. You can see there that's an empty space at built on a closed moment. This is another shot taking the same building around 230 on the corner and Walking Road. This is the end, it's got 3 existing retailers, ground floor, which will be aimed for development. And you can see this in the right hand side, which is the ground floor, which is bars. One that leads to Brandon Road, Brandon's unit right across. It's really on the corner of the one road, which is versus the new side with bars. The reason why I show this side of slides is because there's glass from outer edge of the side and the side, so this is over here. All these buildings are from sites and there's real storage entrance on the road, this is number 1 on the road. And the single entrance here, which is there on the right of the ridge, the door, and it leads to the corridor, walkway, and it's a single storage structure, with this part of 2-story structure, which is that in this location. All that should be obviously that's nice smaller mass than rear, but if you want to stand for it to the south, you want the commercial side, maybe that's ourselves. And then got here, this is before and after. So the top image is block 39, we mentioned previously, here in the corner, and you've got this image on the bottom, which is a sketch, which shows proposed celebration, noticeable celebrations here, not built, so avoid very similar designs manipulations as the elevations. The lots of floor shade across both the very like developing on some build. This is showing the elevation ground roads. This is that bar shop in the corner, and then we've got the rear of the bar shop here. The long road where we've got this garage. That's where essentially on this bottom button, and it's the same sort of street which is round road with fast. It's the first floor of the garage, quite likely the rest, the replacement of the medication from the road changes. Steps. This is a view of the towards the roofs from the other side was, facing the road, so we've got down the road, number 1 down the road, and we've got the other side, which is the roads, just looking through the windows, and in the middle of this, the violence and show. I think we'll be existing building now, absolutely at the moment. Okay, and we've got still location. This is just showing the relationship with number 1 road roads, so this location here, where the garage by its regional structure, which one is through different roads and applications context. This is to understand plus the size. This is the farm brown road really through the size and see this structure here. It's the single story 2-story building organized, that's this size, and we started very hard with the house actually. Which being demolished. The sun is very fast, about the space of the events. So, offline, essentially creating 19 weeks or 19 weeks. 10 1 bed, 9 or 2 bed, got some shows the manifold space which has. When you can see some images of basements, this basement is on the left hand side, so it's footprint both sides. You can see that it's mostly the basement which is towards the rear, which are basically converting to 2 basements, which Also, the bond advantage of the access to building slowly over the side of it. It's just say what it is. The road. There's shown advantage along the road. One of the parts of the presentations really should highlight the volume, so that it's facing the volume, much faster. All of the sort of leadership people about the law and the chief of the legal. So it's corridor that moves to some storage area and that would point. And then please then eventually to some footpaths, the ability to be removed, the lot of ground points, and then some circulating space to service buildings. This is the first one, highlighting the difference between what's there at the moment, plus the one space and plus entries, what has changed to right hand side. Floors of cross both front side and the rear side. I just want to have this stage something. We've got 2-story building within window that will be possible. Once the roof will have down the road, that will smooth lanes to the 3 times the planes. So that's definitely all the class more. There's good for several stairs and buildings for very class, primary, roads, etc. And then obviously we've got some windows which could potentially pass some benefit large view of the road that would steer those to benefit the body. And then we've got some door which is a more different. Three grounders, so that was excellent. So all this sort of element of thought prevention, so if you look at the side, it's sort of doing like speaking rather than the outside of them, like the office and Bernardi, or here, Northern Road, on Bass's on the road, the Lily Road, and we're going to west, which is 100 road, but all those pathways no impact. So if there's today, that's still acceptable. Now people here are sort of different from what's there at the moment to propose. So what you can see on the right hand side of the room is the existing mass on the side. You can see essentially equipment not personal, not changing really, it's messing around the ability to focus and also relationship here, relationship building the middle, which is very similar to those of the system structures. So, yes, the one from the property ground areas, the one which is going to go. So, focusing on those 2 areas which show the effective rollout of developments, you've got this area along the road, which is slope achievements, that achieved this. Several windows that are actually only one of those north by the developments, so it shows there are some lots, and that's this one window that's still here, which target for the all the other windows tested. So this one particular one, this actually slightly below target with one eye. We feel on balance that's when the young hours are less than the shift. So that is also there's one north facing building which see this side there's something like that. It's it's like it's not like for like pieces going down the road. It's not that one reliably based on so there's only privacy. In terms of the outlook and the look at this relationship here, there's already like this was the forefront of the line. And again, is a location in a very sensitive and sensitive. Also, with Next one is the action on mountain studio road, which is a spot. Unit room to see that, and you can see there's an arrow pointing to the windows, take that window. Would be facing towards the roads, and what happened to make sure the window that faces the glass insulation. This foundation that we go to roads, I don't think I'm into that room. What that means is there's nothing like previously to be read one we would raise for the very loud independent. So that in terms of some with one division which was short. Which is that really and it's only long by the way the next start with 7 once then about the people pass over time you see the slowing as you go where the moving on is static, so it's further back you look at this that's a open line battle to but that's the same one. Think the massive in terms of highways, you tell highway slopes, half home. Supposed to lots of information involved opening up the frameworks. Stated 13 spaces, starting to release a bright door for the line of basically do some sense to the ground. So overall, lots of influences in the sector in this case, feel that box lines of residential use of site, site, 15 additional units result from development, which is why housing target. So it's housing on site not feasible, but there's contributions to housing on site. Tasted it's large. So the design, the whole census structures, so it's acceptable. Also, it's content foundation system. Started with 20,000 minutes, so that's what US has, advanced, etc. It's a contribution. Increases in the hearts, massive, development, in its case. It's actually supported because report some panels as a sequence achieves reduction in carbon emissions, set down forward on the rest of the game, still large emissions, it's large site. Very expensive times, quite few investigations. Not all investigated. So it's 4,000 a week. On the institution, it's 200,000. Nothing very actually. It's changed since a lot of this. As you look at around the books of our report, there's also contributions from it's contribution. So there, I'm trying to run some of the way, but it's just to.
Thank you very much, Ryan. There's also an addendum, like to talk about it. No.
Yeah. So the addendum is last minute last negotiating with exactly well there was some questions of starts this would be the number both stages goes through there's 2 additional conditions or short stay cycle storage and an additional condition on the service plan. And then if you essentially to additional power or for housing which basically sets out and the projects to negotiate housing. And lastly, some additional contributions to the section on the 6 CBZ. And and there's also, also issues of some, so, will provide, and finally, 10,000 contributions of short sense on that stage,
Thank you, Ryan. Just to note, the addendum to this and all the items will be printed with the minutes, which will be approved at the next meeting. Thank you very much. We'll move on to speakers. We have Emma McBurney, the agent speaking for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks. I am Bernie, the National Road Association this evening. This proposal was initially submitted in June 2024 as the applicable inquiry. The full planning application followed in March of this year and incorporates the council's many useful design suggestions. Following the helpful pre-app response, we are grateful for the fruitful dialogue with the council and this recommendation this evening to approve the planning application. The applicant will enter into Section 106 legal agreement to ensure the necessary infrastructure to mitigate the needs and impacts of the proposal. This will secure the following financial contributions. Contribution of £250,000 towards the provision of affordable housing and public realm improvements and community safety. Contribution of £33,125 to support delivery of council's industrial strategy upstream London, including to support employment, skills and local procurement activities. Payment of £3,500 for the enhancement of the species-rich grassland situated in the nearby Norman Park. £9,750 planting 13 trees across various locations within the borough. Contribution of £47,093 to offset carbon emissions, and contribution of £75,000 to North End Road business sites and market. I hope that you will follow the officer recommendation to approve, and I'll be very pleased to answer any questions you may have. The applicant's architect Patricia from Interim is present this evening, and if you have any technical questions on the design or buildability, she'd be very pleased to answer them too. Thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you very much. If you'd like to get this back, thank you. And we also have Councillor Charlotte who is the board councillor to speak for this item as well.
Thank you very much, John. Yeah, quite simply, this is this type of scheme that we like to see in the area. So just put it in the context. And next door to the west, the parcel that's being used, approved by this committee some time ago, for you remember it. The Holiday Inn, it's slightly to the north, also is getting an extension and renovation, of course, it's so what we're glad to see, I suppose, that overview can make us the areas in because it wasn't particularly desirable to actually make sense in order to attract people and to live there. So that's no longer the case, and really allowing significant investment. I just wanted to give you my experience of engaging with the developer. So first of all, Patricia's finding has been working with the scheme for really interest and passion in getting started. Those developing it as well is very interesting in retaining architectural aspect of building merit, which is very important. The section that the Northern Road part of our heritage and that there's a feature being able to in that possible myself and a couple of things announced 2000 of the break the canyon of the road. We haven't seen residents that I found very listening with the council with it. It's great things, which is a lower carbon for bringing contributions to social housing, helping the traffic situation in the area, which is something cycle storage. So it's a very good application in my view. But the likes of residents, letting me encourage looking to ask follow-up questions.
Thank you very much. We now move on to questions from committee members to officers. Councillor Black, thank you.
That, thank you. Who would like to ask the question?
Councillor Morgan.
Hi, and thank you for that. I have a question around the section 106. So it was deemed to be illegal to have affordable housing on site. And so if it were working, what kind of figure, what percentage would council expect to have?
It's a hard question.
Yeah.
But essentially, when we look at affordable housing, it's tested independently, so that provides affordable housing details. And the targets that's now London plan, as well as various from 50%, more than which are very difficult to start. But all that's subject to testing, and needs to be tested by viability consultant there, so this they can balance the figures. We then have our own consultants appointed independently. They then review that, and then there's all the material for the two parties to see what's actually feasible. And in this particular case, we just want to show that there's the possible viable model with this, distance between the calculated to the figure we calculated. So that reason for this was made as some scope as a plan to sort of negotiate some contributions. That's what we managed to do, but if you're asking for a specific amount, it's really just set out in the level plan, the London plan, which is sort of final. It's not often to achieve that, then something that's for
Because if I went with the 250,000 pounds, ideally, like best at 35% affordable housing, 250,000 pounds, it doesn't seem like very much in lieu of 35% affordable housing.
Yeah, and that's because the viability assessment carried out by the consultancy and the consultancy council side demonstrated that the scheme on paper is not viable. So they take a risk that it's delivers legacy. Comes out is the legislative to those leaders only then reflect the counterpart. So that's one of the most general values and changes which is service risk, that birth is taken on time. That's our job to make sure that it seems to my levels. If the best motion routes for on the policy on this particular base, that's what we basically otherwise would be. So yeah.
Thank you, Warren. Thanks, we can share as Matt, Assistant Director of Development Management. Mike, I'm just to clarify the 50% affordable targets for arrive targets, site specific. And there is within the London plan more recent policy that trumps are around part of that 35% avoid the viability route. And within our plan policy, the people then plan policy gives weight to viability. So affordable housing provision shouldn't prevent delivery of much needed housing. So it allows for the process to give material waste, significant material waste to viability of the scheme. And we've had that independently assessed, as already described. So it's not precise science like any of these things, and obviously the commission ran for the last 3 years and things will change out there for the better or for the worse. So we managed through the negotiation to achieve a financial contribution, and it's not going to realise 35 or 50% affordable housing offsite. There is a contribution that goes towards infrastructure, including affordable housing in the borough.
Okay, thank you for the definition. I think it's important that we continue to obviously push on housing. I think that a lot of developers out from running business, it would become less viable for them to sell their units for less money. And I understand that, but yeah. Thank you for explaining.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, officers. Councillor Patterson, bring that question.
Thank you very much. The council will be strong. But I'm confused to tell as we drive down the road. This is the advertising warning on one is the intention for that to be removed and the road.
So it's almost an issue in the bottom.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean that's not bad work to think these things. So it's sort of, so if, the applicant has proposed some extensions, so it doesn't actually impact on the elevation stuff, so it's, so it's essentially, on the image. Stop. You got the overlay on the side. It's outside, so when you've got the speed of the starts the elevation is the wouldn't let me never. Just I guess a sort of quick comment, but you know, these hoardings do make the place look slightly upside down, slightly from the run down. So it'll be nice, not. Well, if it was unlawful, we still have to raise brands with me, so it's something to do with some files, so.
Thank you very much. Any questions, councillor Walsh?
Thank you, Chair. Just one question I had was, you mentioned that the field fence was one window that did not pass. Can you just clarify, is that primary, room, or what was the actual room that was not going to pass into effect?
So there were two windows, one with the primary, which is this one, which comes out of this bedroom window potentially, and that's the window pass. And in terms of that, the extensions of proposed cement shelters here would be passed on that element of the which is that's the window floor, so it's 0.49, so the target should be 80%. So, in terms of the scheme, tested into the West Bay about 6 windows, and it's technology the island's gardens, because that's right as policy. So we use the gardens and the gardens itself, says that really, dense area is the extension. That's the so development in that location is acceptable. So no to the slide on 92 of the that's so looking at the first closing and for getting actual that it's not if you're from 8%, from 8, which is basically 80% of the existing they are should be retained, and in this case it'd be 0.78%, 10%, so 4.2%, which is almost changed in the level. So the previously it's affected, and that's all that's overall that's that's the circumstances.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Clare?
Yeah, sorry, to follow up on that. So have the residents of number 92 complaints?
No, they haven't made objections. We see this report based on the whole. So, in the objection from one round range, was objection from 92 milligrams, 92 miles, this effect is that one that's not quite so.
Thank you very much for that. I'd just like to add that having seen the report on the climate mitigation efforts of this development is really quite impressive. So I commend them for working so hard. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? Okay, well, thank you very much. We thought we were closing the just, yeah, I agree with, also what Councillor Bailey and Shabbat said. sorry, that's a data side, is a good development that, adds to the area in many respects, and particularly part of how the infill of the road signs is sympathetic to the existing building and from the design of the habits. So I want to go in the first few slides. This one, I think that is, it adds to the streetscape, I think it was last passing so great, that, and was not then, well, I think it would add even more, but, of course, accept the point, but it's not what we've done, so much we can do. Okay, well, that's it for me. In that case, we can move on to, voting. First on, recommendation 1, councillor Trade 8.4, against on 4. Councillor Nathan,
4,
Councillor Walsh, 4. Councillor Pascal Tilbury, 4. Councillor Rowland,
4,
and I will also be voting 4. And then on recommendation 2, report, Councillor Trade, 4. Councillor Nathan,
4,
Councillor Walsh, 4. Councillor Pascal Tilbury, 4. Councillor Rowland,
4.
and I will also be voting 4. Therefore, the item is approved. Thank you very much. We move on to item, I think it's 11, and so, we'll move on to item number 8, which is 87 Gable Road. I need some words to them answer, so you'll be ready to start.
Chair, my settlement in terms of the studies of the narratives of the died, and is the reason of this employee as part of the office. The attention is for to the addendum which contains 2 corrections, condition of excellence, and benefits of the solar panels, and further alteration of the restrictions condition. And secondly, condition 24 has been altered to refer to the current confirmation condition. So that's 20 in the cycle 28. Proposal seeks permission to release the existing building from unrestricted storage and distribution units, use class C8, into 6 self-contained flats comprising of 2 1-bed, 3 2-beds, and 1 3-bed self-contained flats. By the erection of a new station involving an increase in the ridge height, including 3 roof lights in the front roof stone and formation of a roof terrace, 2nd floor level to the rear elevation. Erection of rear extensions, ground to the first floor level, partial demolition of the ground to the first floor level, including the creation of a new wall and roof openings, formation of roof terraces at first floor level, and garden terraces at ground floor level, alterations to front elevations, placement of existing windows with new windows, and existing double entrance gates with a new single entrance gates and railings, installation of sustainable roofs, and lights above the roof of the ground and first floor back additions, installation of solar panels above the roof, first floor rear back addition, formation of bin and restaurants at ground floor level, and associated landscaping and external alterations. The application site is located to the west side of Gayford Road. It lies within the residential area to the northeast of Gayford Road and north of Stamford Brook. The site is adjacent to Ravens Court and Starch Green Conservation Area, and Recommended Park lies to the rear of the site. In terms of the immediate surrounding area, to the east of the site is 85 Gayford Road, which shares the party wall village 7 Gayford Road. The eastern side of the rear extension of the site shares the side infill extension on the road required. So that's this side and this Gayford Road. To the west of the site is 89 Gayford Road, which also shares party wall village 7 Gayford Road. 89 Gayford Road is directly adjacent to the western elevation of the roof extension on the site. The extension also covers the rear of the heritage of the property at 89 Gayford Road. So that's this building right here, this is number. The application site was originally built as a 2-story Victorian terrace with a enormous rear and installed via a gated archway and a site of terrace residential properties into the rear extended park. Since at least 1949, the building has stayed in commercial use. It is brick built with a slate pitch roof to the front and flat roofs to the rear. Images on screen show the existing site photographs with the existing front elevation to the left and the view from the site looking towards both the park to the right. The images on screen show the existing site photos with views looking towards the site, showing the rear elevation of 95 Gayford Road and the view of the existing rear roof slope of the site and 85 Gayford Road. So this is the rear elevation of 95 Gayford. Images on screen help to illustrate the existing images on screen show the existing view standing within the park looking towards the site. So this is the existing structure. The images on screen help to illustrate the existing and proposed massing, particularly focusing on the middle and rear section of the proposed building. As members will note, the proposal involves the addition of a green skin roof, solar PV panels and light bulbs, the 2 external roof terraces for flats 3 and 4, which are the 3-bed 5-person and 2-bed 4-person flats, are also shown here. So this is these 2 are the external terraces. The image on screen shows the proposed ground floor plan as well as the private community spaces for each flat. That's these 5 tiers. So this is the community space for flat 1, the community space for flat 4, the community space for flat 3, and the community space for flat 5. The flats are accessed via a renewal entryway on the front of the site. So that's this way along here. Units 2, 3, 4, and 5 will have private cycle stores. These will be located in a shared walkway against the boundary treatment, also shared with number 89 Gayford Road. Along the way. And unit 1 will contain its own self-contained cycle storage for 2 cycle parking spaces. This is the proposed first floor plan. This plan shows the open plan kitchen, living and dining rooms of flats 3 and 4, leading out onto external terraces, with flat 2, which is a 1-bed 1-person flat to the front. So these are the external terraces for flats 3 and 4, and this is the flat for 2 1-bed 1-person. This is a proposed second floor plan which shows the layout of flat 6, which is a 1-bed 2-person flat with private amenity space in the form of a roof terrace. So that's here, again, facing on the park. This is the proposed roof plan, which shows 3 proposed roof lights on the front of the roof slope and 1 new roof light on the rear roof slope, as well as the new dormer and roof window lamps. This window. The images on screen show the proposed front and rear elevations. The blue dashed line denotes the extent of the existing building line. Members can see the roof terraces for flats 3 and 4 and flat 6 above. So that's these 2 roof terraces right here for 3 and 4, and then the other roof terrace for flat 6. This is a proposed section through the site. Again, the blue dashed line denotes the extent of the existing building, with the dormer roof extension and the other extension clearly shown here. So here we are, this is the existing building line. And as you can see, this is the dormer roof extension and the extension. And this is the external limits. This is a proposed section through the site. Likewise, this is another section through the site with the 2 first floor windows, which are proposed to serve as bedrooms. So that's these 2 windows right here. And these will be facing on to number 85 Gayford Road. However, no adverse harm to number 85 is identified, as there is only 1 single obscure glazed non-habitable window facing onto the site. This is a proposed section through the site from number 89 Gayford Road's viewpoint. The elevation on the screen shows part of number 89 site elevation, given that these buildings are attached. So this element is the number 89 elevation, and then this is the elevation site. Again, the blue dashed line to look at the existing building line. This is the same elevation section, which shows the proposed new windows facing northwest. The first floor window could be obscure glazed and set at an oblique angle. therefore no harm to privacy identified. So that this is the first floor window right here. And then this is the extract from the first floor plan that appears at the floor glazed window set at an oblique angle. And again, it would be facing here moving towards meeting okay. The images on screen illustrates those front and rear elevations by CGI. So again, consider the roof extension, the ridge height increase, the front roof lights, and again, this will be the view from Rose Park, looking towards the site. This is the dormer roof extension, and this will be the front extension. The images on screen show the existing and proposed rear elevations facing Windsor Park. So this is the existing rear elevation, and this would be the proposed rear elevation. Similarly, the images on screen show the existing and proposed rear sections of the site, including roof terraces, roof heights, and roof. Again, because the roof terraces are flats 3 and 4, this is the external use space for flats 3. This is the external use space for flats 4, and this is the external use space for flats 5. Turning to the materials, the proposal will be finished in high quality materials, including London stock brick and lighting cladding to the front. Final details to be secured by condition. In terms of the landscaping and biodiversity, the green skin roof rows and high quality landscaping finish. The proposed communal entrance involves a public door leading from the street, which again will be formed communal entrance path, which in turn leads to each of the private entrance doors of each flat. The communal path will be landscaped and finished to a high standard. The image on screen shows an evident image on the right, which gives a visual impression of the entrance way. In terms of car parking, the site is located within Hotel 1B, which shows very poor levels of accessibility. The application site is supported by a transport statement, which demonstrates by a parking stress survey that there is sufficient capacity on the local road flow. Generally speaking, London boroughs apply the 80 to 90% threshold to indicate when roads are at their operational capacity, with 90% above defined as high levels of stress and 100% to indicate full capacity. The parking stress survey shows a level of 62% parking stress across the study area, which is considerably below the threshold. Furthermore, London Planning Policy T61 states a maximum standard of 0.75 space per unit in a London within Hotel 0 to 1. Therefore, the maximum car parking permit would equate to 4 spaces for this development. As such, 2 of the proposed units have a car parking permit restriction, and the remaining 4 units be limited to 1 permit per household. This would be secured by a legal agreement. To summarise, the key issues relate to the loss of unrestricted BH use and change to residential use. This is considered to be acceptable. Residential use in this location is supported, and the continued unrestricted BH use would result in adverse harm to residential needs in line with the local planning policy in 2. In terms of design, the massing is considered to be acceptable. Officers consider the proposal to be a visual improvement to the existing structures on site, and the enhance identified to the railway support and start training in the station area. In terms of consultation responses, 9 objections from 7 addresses from people been received. These are detailed in paragraph 4.2 of the report on page 195 of the agenda report. Some of the concerns have already been addressed, but some objections mainly relate to outlook, privacy, overdevelopment, noise, traffic, and congestion. In response to adverse harm is identified in terms of outlook and privacy. The layout has been oriented to mitigate harm to privacy. Windows have been designed to prevent harm to adjoining neighbours, namely 85 and 89 Bayford Road. In terms of daylight and sunlight, the proposal is compliant with the early standards for the entrance. Officers consider 6 units to be optimising site's capacity. In terms of noise, safeguarding conditions are included to prevent adverse harm. The proposed development would create high quality accommodation, 6 new homes, including 1 exposed dwelling, on-site reduction in CO2 emissions through the incorporation of energy efficiency measures and renewable technologies, namely electric boilers and PV panels, in terms of highways, 2 units would have the car parking permit restrictions, and the remaining 4 units would be restricted to 1 permit per unit, secured by a legal agreement. Finally, turning to the heads of terms, financial contribution of £70,000 has been secured, which will contribute towards public realm, environmental improvements, and economic development to support the delivery on the council's industrial strategy, or any successor to it. A limit of 1 car parking permit per approved unit for 4 of the approved units, and the other 2 approved units would have a parking permit restriction. The applicant will need to enter into a section 278 agreement to fund any necessary highway works, including the crossover on Gayford Road, and finally a commitment to meet the costs of the council's associated legal fees. For these reasons, officers recommend application for approval, subject to conditions listed in the report, including changes noted in the addendum, and successful completion of the legal agreement.
Thank you very much, Annie, sir. We have speakers on this item as well. We first start with Francis Holding, who is the applicant speaking support. So Holding, you have 3 minutes. Thank you very much.
Good evening,
Councillor, one pressure.
person.
Thank you.
Good evening, councillors. I'm Francis Holden, I'm the architect of the scheme. I'd like to outline briefly why the site's former BA commercial use is no longer suitable, and why our over 6 high-quality homes is the right outcome. From the front, 87 Gayford Road looks like a terrace house. Behind it extends deep into the plot over 2 stories, ending in an ugly rendered warehouse which harms views from Wembley Park. From 1977 to 2023, it was occupied by Showroom International, who made martial arts equipment. By the end, just 2 people worked there, but the site holds an unrestricted B8 storage and distribution use. Any future occupier running 24/7. That's the key risk. Plumbers, merchants, the last mile delivery depot, or dark kitchen will all operate here, bringing constant van and lorry movements, early morning and late night noise emissions, entirely unsuitable for next to housing, a nursery, and primary school. When children are selected, lorries burst in Cobbled Road, blocking resident bays, while forklifts loaded pallets. Converting the site to housing removes that disruption for good. Some neighbours have asked why 6 flats. The reason is the building's large size, 466 square metres. The proposed homes will all exceed London Plan space standards, and that includes 3-bed family flat with a private garden. 2 land-style parking surveys found on-street parking stress of just 60%. Section 96 agreement will restrict parking permits to 2 flats. Parking pressure will still be low, just 63%. Compared with a typical B8 user, traffic emissions will fall sharply. Design transformed nice will strip back render and expose the London storage room and improving views from Wembley Park. The new roof mansard will match technically the one recently approved next door at number 85. The £70,000 section 106 payment contributes to community saving parking improvements. In summary, non-restricted BA use would invite disruptive operations, heavy vehicle traffic. Our proposal replaces that risk with 6 well-designed homes, reduce transport movements, improve the street scene, and enhance the setting of the park. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Holding. Thank you for being back to things. And we also have Councillor Harley, who's the work councillor on site.
Thank you for letting me speak at such short notice. So I am here on behalf of residents who contacted me and shared their real concerns about the development, which they object to. And the objection really falls into a number of different areas, but there's some key areas that concern them with the board. So they are concerned about the overdevelopment of being too dense, the additional noise and the increased noise that will come from it. The fact that they believe that it could attract short-term lets and the transient population, that they are worried about the parking pressure and the traffic congestion these properties will create on the road in addition to an already very congested road. They're also very concerned about poor air quality due to the increase in vehicles, increase in overlooking, loss of privacy, the roof terrace doesn't form part of the character of the area, and how they feel won't fit in with the current look. They are also concerned about how it will overlook Oval Park conservation area, and they don't feel it's sympathetic to local style. So, sort of in short, they're saying that they believe there'll be an impact on the neighbouring community, there'll be an impact on the highway network, the refuse and recycling will also be a problem, and the quality of the proposed accommodations is concerned for them, because they don't believe it will leave people that are living in those properties with enough space. So if I could just go to the point about overlooking of privacy, the number of residents who will be affected are really concerned about it. So that comes from number 83 David Road, 85. There's also concern from properties such as 102, 104, 106 and 98 David Road, who are all concerned about the loss of privacy and the feeling of the privacy being invaded. They have also raised concerns around the shadowing and loss of sunlight for 85 and 89, which hasn't really been discussed, and residents are very upset about this. In regards to the bins and rubbish, the residents have raised concerns about the significant volume of bins that will be needed to cater for these properties in such a small area. And I think there's a reference to a really huge bin, that's section 9.10 of the report, but residents are concerned that this rubbish is going to cause a lot of problems for them on David Road. There's also concern about the pod dormer, and I know in the report at 7.9 talks about we have pod dormers north of David Road, so it should be fine, but actually this isn't going to be north of David Road, this is on the other side, and there aren't similar ones there. So residents are very concerned about the change in the property and how it's going to impact on them. In regards to the quality of accommodation, residents again are very concerned about the property being overcrowding, about there being no private amenity space for one flat, which is referenced at 6.2728, the report. And the report says there's no objection, but residents do object, and they are concerned about that. They're worried about the increase of people going up and down the street and the parking and the traffic. In addition to the quality of the house and the flats being small. So at 6.18 the report, it talks about the ceiling height not being high enough. And at 7.13, it talks about 3-bed dwellings, the private amenity space is less than required by our plan. So these are all things residents are concerned about. They do also highlight one of the real huge concerns for them is around cars and parking. There is a big footfall on David Road, and although we've heard that there's a stress survey report that says there's, 80% use of something, this road is really heavily congested. It's got a number of nurseries and schools. We're also right next to Wendell Park school streets, so cars tend to come to David Road, park to go to school or to navigate the whole system, causing congestion. So there is a lot of traffic there, a lot of air pollution already. By agreeing and allowing to cars being over park and as part of this development, it's going to add further problems to those residents.
At 9.5 in the report, we talk about the London Plan tackling air pollution. And I know that in the report, we also talk about very much in Hammersmith, when we want to increase cycling, and there will be some cycling spaces, but there isn't anything in the plan that says we want to increase car parking. So the residents are really objecting to the car park being allowed as part of this development, as well as the number of properties in the development. So although they welcome the development of commercial property to residential property, they've got real concerns about the volume of that resident properties within the development. So they do not want it to be 5 or 6, they want it to be less. Quite recently on Gate Road, there was a similar application that had gone to the planning inspector, where the council supported objections not to give planning permission because of congestion on that road. So I would ask planning committee to really consider actually the council's position. On one hand, when we're objecting to building something Stephen's Hall, to where we felt like there was too much congestion, to now suddenly agreeing because someone who's outside of council's produced a stress report saying that there is space to have car parking when there clearly isn't, really heavily congested road. There is public transport available there. There are buses that are very frequent, and the tube network being close in proximity. To allow an additional 4 cars to be able to park there may seem quite a small amount until you actually have the size of the road and the junction of it and how it's navigated by the traffic. Quite frequently, residents told me about how cars go up. It's a 2-way directional road. The cars go up either side, they get stuck, they start arguing with each other, spinning each other, there's loads of problems on that road. So creating multiple additional spaces and giving that permission to park there is just going to add to that problem. And I would also ask committee to consider our approach to climate change and air pollution, so that if you are minded to go ahead and agree to this planning application, that you make an adjustment to not agree to parking, because that would fit in line with our climate action using this council. And I think that's pretty much everything that everyone has raised with me. So yeah, so I just wanted to reiterate that residents are welcoming the development. They appreciate the idea of changing from commercial to residential. They're just very concerned about the volume of the properties, impact that will have on the noise inside the property, outside the property, that impacts the having residents that will live in that property as well as themselves. And residents are really concerned about their privacy being invaded, not having any, not feeling like they've got the privacy that they have at the moment if this goes ahead, and also being really concerned about traffic and the input of parking.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Thank you. We've now moved on to members, questions to officers, at what?
Thank you, Chair. I just want to pick up some of the points that was raised by the board councillor. First, I just want to ask about the question of design. Could you tell me what's the current render of the building?
It's
And is that in keeping with or contrary to neighbouring or properties within proximity? Or more to the point, what is the general architectural renders for that street?
It's quite a mixed vernacular aspect. There's no single standard formula.
And the proposal for the London Bridge to have a London Smart Bridge. Could you point out for any of the neighbouring properties, London Smart Bridge? So from this I can't see very well, would that be to clarify?
I think there is something with the general vicinity, but in this we can't exactly pinpoint which one would say step would be London Smart Bridge. Street is very.
Okay, I'll take your point, on that. I'm gonna jump towards the question of refuse. Could you please highlight where we plans, the refuse storage will be for, these flats?
Storage will be located towards the entrance of the site, so there will be two 660 litre bins, and then there will be two 23 litre food waste collections.
But these, from my understanding, these will be inside the site itself, so from the street view itself, this is not something that residents would be able to see.
Absolutely, yeah, so it would have to be brought out on the collection day, and it would not be visible from the street.
And is that secured by condition that the bins do remain on site and not be placed out on the street?
There is a specific condition within the current wording of the condition at the moment, but because it's shown on the drawings on the approved plans, it will be supported by the approved drawings condition.
Okay, so as it is currently stated on the drawings, this would therefore be a planning requirement as opposed to needing to be secured by condition.
Exactly, because it's showing where the business up front and the capacity is in line with policy, then we don't need a separate condition to secure further details. We're satisfied with the details as submitted.
Thank you. And then I wanted to jump again to the question of the parking stress survey. Obviously, there is some dispute here in terms of congestion levels. I think you mentioned about 60%. The Ward Councillor highlighted that there may be other particular stresses on the road itself. Are you able to outline when and at what times of days these surveys were undertaken?
Yeah, absolutely. So the surveys were undertaken on Tuesday, the 29th of April, 2025, and Wednesday, the 30th of April, 2025. And again, they were outside of some public holidays. And effectively, it's sort of a survey beat, and it's not just looking at Gayford Road, it's an entire survey area. So that includes two sections, cobbled roads, two quite a long road, Hillier Road and Swanston Road. And what they found was that there was sufficient capacity during the survey, during when the survey was taken, to not result in adverse harm. So as I said in the presentation, London boroughs generally we look at 80 to 90% as being adverse harm, where even where policy allows us to be more flexible because of the parking stress, we wouldn't allow any further permits. But in this instance, they've demonstrated that there is sufficient capacity in the existing road network for the additional 4 flats for the 4 parking permits.
If you're feeling from where I'm sitting, I'm not able to read any of the particular figures that are there. So I'm gonna ask, in terms of these particular stress load for, let's say, Southgate for the road, what is the stress? And to an extent that what's the capacity as well?
Yeah, so the parking stress is between 67 to 68, specifically for Gayford Road, just looking at Gayford Road in of itself. And then in terms of available spaces during the study, 110 unlimited spaces are available.
Yes, and then just to final question on the amount of parking. At what hours of the day was the survey undertaken?
I will be remembering this from memory, but I think it started at 12 midnight. Oh. Yeah, it's midnight.
Overnight, so it's midnight to midnight.
Yeah.
Okay.
12:30 and 5:30
AM.
the next day.
Oh, it's 12:30 one day and then 5:30 the next day.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Chair, I'm gonna pause there to allow others to ask any questions that they may have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And just to do on that point, with the line, you can see that the area has minus Friday 9 AM to 5 PM bike restrictions of that, cost anyway. Any other questions from anyone across the drive?
Yeah. Can we go back to the living conditions of the size of the flat? The two things that the councillor mentioned was the living space and the ceiling height. I mean, we do actually have the architect here this housing, I've spoken to this, but I don't know if you can, give us some more information about whether that is adequate space. Thank you.
Absolutely, so all of the 6 units meet and or exceed the national space standards. One of the points that was mentioned was specifically relating to private community space. And again, 5 of the 6 units would have private external community space. And in particular, it's unit 3, which is a 3-bed 5-person family site dwelling, which would have 8 square metres external private roof terrace, which again faces on the wrong part. One of the points raised is that this doesn't meet the standards for, you know, the 3-bed house in terms of our policy, which is about 46 square metres. On balance, in this instance, given the existing site constraints, officers consider that the offer combined with the fact that the units meet the national space standards and that they are providing some level of private external immediate space is acceptable in this instance. And although there is a part of the facility, the site doesn't, you know, solely rely on Wendell Park to provide any external amenity space. It seeks to provide its own private external amenity space.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? Councillor Pastor.
Thank you very much. So this is quite an
Sorry.
Sorry, thank you very much. I'm sorry, it's quite an unusual application because I guess if a normal lived in terrace house, and extension of that scale, those, it would have no chance of people going in and in. And so I guess there is some reasonableness to, so there is some really excessive development. Are we basically bound by the existing footprints? In terms of the sort of development because it feels sort of those.
Absolutely, it is a situation where it is effectively a historical anomaly, where something like this, the scale of this sort of intense residential location would just not be possible. In terms of the existing resident, that again would correct to say that forms a baseline of what officers would consider it forms the envelope, so to speak. And in terms of allowing the roof extension and the massive project extension, that allows us to, you know, have site optimization and creating 6 high quality roads. And again, the fact that some of it exceed the national space standards shows that it is a high quality development. It's not been designed and you know, with dense. One of the points raised, I'll take this opportunity to answer that question. One of the points raised was the ceiling height. And again, like we say, we're restricted by the existing building. So the ceiling height of the ground floor is 2.4 metres and the minimum plan states 2.5, so it is 0.1 metre less than the threshold. But there is flexibility to be allowed in the sense that the main living spaces are on the first floor, which again meet the standards if not exceed them.
Thank you. Without sense of constructive opinion, would we be running into difficulties to sort of reject an application based on anything that should be smaller than there's already existing there?
It's quite a careful balance. I think it would be the case of demonstrating the harm. Where is the demonstrable harm? And in this instance, as we discussed, there is no residential use harm. In terms of visual impact, we've identified no harm to the roads construct vehicle stationary, so it would be difficult to say that it's on that basis.
Thank you very much. And just one question. Does this potentially create a precedent for other
As we've said, because it's a unique site, I think it would be difficult for other applicants to demonstrate such extenuating circumstances.
Thank you very much for your involvement.
Thank you very much. Councillor Hayes.
Thank you. Just wanted to ask about the parking. So you explained to me that there is low levels of
public transport links and that the parking structure survey showed that in all of the kind of structure we would consider limiting parking. So is it the case that actually there could be more parking spaces offered with the development and the number offered is that an attempt to strike a balance between offering parking spaces and considering the climate impacts as the water tax surveys?
I think so, I'm ready to see your transport plan. And to your question, the reason why the number of car spaces proposed is 4 was, local plan policy P6 identifies that for sites in this detail of 0 to 1, the maximum parking allowed would be 0.75 spaces per building. So based on the calculation, that would be a maximum of 4, so that's why that's. Very much. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, I mean, for again here for this, the ward councillor, also on the question of parking, did highlight, things at St. Stephen's Hall, which I believe is further up, because, I know it's a separate application, is not an application we're considering this evening, but, in terms of it's an indication that there may be a future development along this road. In what degree of weight can we place to obviously the knowledge that this is a road which may experience further parking demands in the near future?
What I can say about 3 to 5 Gable Road, it's different from the application site and that details different. The detail ranges on that site from 1 up to 3, whereas the application site is the limit is 1B, therefore the policy differs that way. So for 3 to 5 Gable Road, that was having secures for parking permit free during the week. That's the difference there.
Okay, thank you. And then my final question this evening is just in terms of this question raised about overlooking here. In the presentation, I didn't mention any properties where the DRE guidance had been breached. To your knowledge, do any of the neighbouring properties experience any reduction in daylight sunlight or are particularly exposed to the proposed development?
Yes, absolutely. There are changes in the guidelines draft development. So the image on screen shows 82 Gable Road, and this window in particular has been assessed as it's a habitable window. And again, no infringements in terms of daylight and sunlight to this window. The window on the side, like I said, is an habitable room, glazed, obscure glazed window. And then turning to 89 Gable Road, because of its orientation, that there is no harm to number 89 Gable Road. So this is the elevation of number 89 Gable Road. It attaches to the site. And again, the only window facing even within that vicinity is a first floor level obscure glazed window.
Sorry, thank you very much. Yeah,
Thank you very much. I have one question. Councillor Hunter mentioned some concern from residents. The site being used for short-term lets. Can you ever correct me that you cannot take this into account that your price duration that it might be used in the future, or could you explain? I guess short-term lets, I would imagine HMOs in the future would be a kind of concern. Is this something that we need to take into account?
Through your chair, you when you have to check whether you're on specific conditions, restricted small HMOs, you are allowed this development to operate on 6 individuals within within a single house. Anything above 1,000 planning permission according to the as well as HMO. The Airbnbs, again, it's an issue that residents may be concerned with. There are restrictions on that as well. Talk about them, you can't operate in the
Night days.
yes. So again, there's separate, rules governing land. The nature of this site being that it's divided into like smaller units, that's likely to be open to, I guess, want to call it, use that it would be used for HMO. Given the challenging nature of the site, I think the blend itself better to less family, smaller units, where arguably you may get a transient population because hopefully it provides a lower relative costly over a lower cost of accommodation for people and hopefully more accessible for young people to get on property ladder. Thank you very much. There's draw committees pages edition 17 where we do have a restriction in relation to HMOs falling within class 4 that would otherwise allow it to change.
Okay, thank you very much. Any final questions or comments? No, okay. In that case, to go to voting, first on whether recommendation 1 from the board is agreed. Councillor Training voted for, against, or not voted for. Councillor Mason.
For.
Councillor Walsh. For. Councillor Passmore-Gray. For. Councillor Rollins. For. And I will also vote for. And on my recommendation 2, the hearing board is agreed. Councillor Day. For. Councillor Mason. For. Councillor Walsh. For. Councillor Passmore-Gray. For. Councillor Rollins.
For.
And I also vote for. Therefore, the item is approved. Thank you very much. We now move on to item number 9, which is the Oxford Gate item and me presenting. Obviously.
Well, thank you, yeah. This application relates to the town of Oxford Gates. Usually out to this benefit the state, and recruiting. Parts of the direction of one story, one two-story site extension, following the end up with the garage, six-story rear extension, solar panel from company side. Other than common observations, they think the very small will be from replacements. Place the site there for fence, with balls on both sides, solar panels on the left, obviously pump being installed between the different buildings. The site, the show here, highlighted the road. Obviously road goes down there to the southwest, and then where it's access from, upgraded. The 13 is the house of the site. Site is within a pre-constellation area, and not that there is a listed area of regulation. The snare of the side, the property has like the base. Just the yards. The general tree. The road. The round with the fire. Conservation of cells. The scare would be demolished and distinguished in partially from competition extension. The thing is, the site not the roof slope provided from the neighbour property goes further. Well, really from the front. The rear guard of the side is wood, the sleep wood barrier. And that is looking for the rear guard for 13 and 15 guard as well. Okay, now I can cursor. The same, the proposal is reveal single-story, part single-story, part single-story, side extension, which is sloped away from the Berkeley, as we will go to the left here. This is the also proposed garage feature within the site. In the rear, if we go from the rear garden, we have some extension here. Rear, and then very small balcony space with first one level. Then you can see this boundary of where the one of the properties. Then you can see that the extensions of the boundary of the properties. It's put back. This will be the short proper from the premises. We have one of the extension glazed screening, arrangement, iron by include, really inside to develop two flights village. And roof again considerably slightly away from the cost of roof lights. Just good, you should see. This is just with quality. The rear rail for extension. Very small. Everything. No, two small terraces. Moving around the flight, square meters per thousand, so that's the very space for and large gathering. Garage, the garage would be here, both the property, here for the and the sourcing of the located here, the garage and the garage built for the area here, so the shelves, the garage here, the green roof, you know, so then six restricted here, the roof, east to grey, small terrace here, and element to be capital extension. House probable 5 living room. Yes, building, kitchen, dining room, house for this. Like that. So. Second part of the single with that in re-extension. See benefit manifest room. Further benefits. And the third, and then the last benefit. Likely that if with both garage, we learned the So about it, the roof. We put it on the little to. Fortunately, up to good. Yeah, thank you, way from the property. Officers have recommended the application for approval. Subject to conditions. Okay.
Thank you very much, and we also have an addendum, the post. That was
Yes, the is one. What is on the assessment? Was glad with the conditions, both regular and others that are on the committee, about no one to actually carry out two fields. Without trying to push the first bit of time, although that condition excludes some value. That's been that information.
Thank you very much, Neil. We now want to speakers, and we have, Alexandra Kita, who is agent, and, Olena speaking sports, it's not just given. Okay, that is, 5 minutes, to speak in relation of your opinion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, dear Chair, dear councillors, good evening, my name is Fulham, and it's my family. I have here 12 residents of this wonderful home since 2011. In 2024, we made a decision to make Hammersmith and Fulham both of our permanent home, and we purchased them for 28 in February. Basic information to extend and create a complete, sustainable home with our long-term needs. We've been taking great care of design, a proposal that respects the character of the area and aligns with Fulham's planning. Our application submitted at the end of last year for the plan. Planning guidelines and it will improve and extend the existing living space in a sustainable way, enhance the visual appeal of the property and the wider estate, and incorporate different energy efficiency measures in line with the borough and national green goals for green homes. We're very grateful for officers, planning officers, and community for the time and diligence in reviewing our application. We understand too many competitive demands for this, and we will truly appreciate the consideration. We believe this project will bring clear benefit for our family and the wider community with no impact on neighbors and properties. We respectfully ask for your support in approving our application so we can move forward with this important project and build our home.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bond, if you wouldn't mind staying line for a moment as well. Thank you very much.
Mr. Director, our Director of Architecture, agent. I must say that this was a challenge, although it was on a smaller scale than the other schemes that are considered today. It is an unusual brief on our from the site. So we were very well aware that the site of the expansion will raise concerns for local development and consequently creation of precedent for something like this during the process. Currently, there are no exceptions from there. To start with, the site is quite unique. This border of the L-shaped state, so therefore this pollution is the name of the properties around this. In terms of the size, it took a lot of care to make sure that the proposals meet and actually very comfortably sit within the key principles stages for images. So that was all checked. So there are considerations, of course, where the conservation area and neighbors and poetry. By the first order, it's not direct requirement, that was one of our objectives. On the positive side, the site is excluded. It is not seen from anywhere in public realm. We checked that not even like lives site being from going through different buildings. So on, so that it's only seen from outside of the estate and from the gardens. Again, the design is very much it's a function. It was produced based on these concerns and to meet them. First of all, to mitigate the perceived size of the development, we used the materials. We did not use the levels of brick, which is used for the main house, because that would make the extension just make the house bigger. So we use the secondary materials, which can be seen on the estate, the roof slates, the roof of the house, and roof cladding, which is seen on the facade. These materials are present, but they're secondary, they make an extension, much more supported. So there was very close engagement with the officers throughout the station, all the recommendations were taken on board. Throughout the consideration, we had a lot of comments from the officers which are being read. We ended up with 2 rounds of public consultation, but because we had to make some amendments that triggered the second presentation, hence the relatively large amount of comments. But again, we're very grateful to the officers that we had a chance to discuss the residents with them and the president and make final amendments on the scheme. That would we also wish to begin with the neighbors within the scheme, explain the solutions, address that, and sort of actually read that actually yes. After explanations.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Chair, if you'd like to.
Yes.
Summary.
Yeah, no, I think the summary is, so this is a pictorial scheme, which was developed and considered to close the construction offices, for which we are very grateful. There was all reports and investigations done, but we really proceed.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and thank you both. If you don't mind, just turn off the phone. That's great, thank you. We will now move on to questions from members of the committee who would like to answer. Councillor Day.
Thank you for that. I'm going to ask a sort of broad question about the CO2 emissions and the climate mitigations, because we're losing quite a lot of greenery here in the size of the development. Now, I can see that you are introducing really good elements of now, I know I was going to come caveat, that's why it's a long question, because I think it's not a material consideration that you are adding a heat source pump and so all the climate mitigation elements. But I think what I'm asking about is whether the loss of greenery can be mitigated as well.
That commissioning, it's considered why it's bad for us, the makes definition source going with self-built, customer house buildings, we get down to the biodiversity again, that's not the example. So, I mean, the green road certainly it benefits both garages for extension, basically. Property where the existing garage is, obviously it's already built over there, so I've lost greenery there, so it's really just from the real shed that we built that other greenery from the garage, new garage. I think it does some garage balance that, definitely.
Thank you. I think that's my question on balance, so I think it adds up.
Thank you very much. Any further questions or comments? Okay, and nothing from me, so in that case, we'll have to move on to voting. First, one of the one report is read, Councillor Kenyon voting for, against, or opposed.
For.
Councillor Painter. For. Councillor Walsh. For. Councillor Woodbury. For. Councillor Rowland. And I will also vote for, and now recommendation to For the report, please, Councillor Bailey. Four. Councillor Gaither. Four. Councillor Walsh. Four. Councillor Patrick. Four. Councillor Wallace. Four. And now we must be closing four, and therefore the answer is approved. We will now move on to item five is the Bruce Club and we're asking the then also Roy to join us again and introduce the report. Yes.
So the application is abused on 248 Northern Road. There's one small addendum to refer to, and that's word plus basically excluding the city on the application before it's not relates to Mansard Road floor from to great regulatory use. Also to add a second floor side essentially reiterations to that issue. But the issue history with the land and the much of that was proposed. Restoration is seeking actually the further example for the change from gas to nine that's but also some roof surface that forms on the roof and severely against plants and birds and facilities. This is the location, the narrow location of Northern Road, just talking just a few minutes ago about sites of 19 the road and 88 other roads that we find on the site. So both of the junction of the road and started red, see the citizen constellation to the southeast. Here is the Labour site. So we've got two-story last I think it's cars, then three-story elements here, and then the really have and you go to the back of the side, and there's the shoes that you can three on the side. This is the Weaver Street level, so this is a proposal change existing business. Because the original left is the sort of heat bill, which is very from roads there space. That's basically the price extension of second floor, and then for this still be the which might be to the most part, remains the same. So these are extensions of the Norwich, which is like I just mentioned. We want to go on the rear elevation 2000. It's for some that the star, then we got to the large and I say something that really the elevation from the same definitions at the front. And you can see the cap of the imaging like so in terms of floor areas, the ground floor and the basement which will be retained apart. At the moment, there's a kitchen at the first floor level, which would look down to the basement, and it's basically makes more efficient use of public house use at ground floor, and the ceiling, with the customers. And you've got this class on the upper floor, first, second, third floor, you see the various the lines of this. One to nine, there's no size, but essentially there are two bedroom and one bedroom flats, and we have various stands, buckets. The street level is in the fifth of our house that we've got access to. It's a second of the Tudor house, which is fifth on the we've got upstairs store, which is second on the So this is trying to change some context. They've got a building big house, and to the left you've got two set of house, And obviously we've actually got two parts of it, that's the branch, you see the elevation, basically the head size. Also really got mobile maps, and one for mobile people, I'm sure there's actually probably further on. One, two, four, six, you can see there's some mobiles in the branch, which is really, the ones that have more. And we've got Tuesday, everything else for the reasons. She, and we've got, so really, these things are, together those, those, and we've got, one with the flowers, which is really amazing. So just another, sharing, we should keep sort of now, so we see this level simple one, with the line, so that the sales, which is here, with the maximum worth of that machine. So, so which you can't pay nothing. With my board, with root fires in it, and root fire is set up, under recommendation. It's a real explanation. And then we should for a sort of second out of the line, lots of low pattern. Yeah, that's not then the perception error, which is this elevation. We can see windows, these are ones are not, nor these are actual, so it's not obvious from the windows in any list one that these kinds of outlook, but that windows of the Bible is still well, separation. Several people which are very well with different balances, so change is significantly similar and we can't sell about the certain. Reach and all the amount of issues raised, heavy millions and things. The first made it various stars about 16. Maintenance you don't own house and make as well, so in the first couple of centuries before the once we mobile house is there, and she did have the away windows with packaging university so terms of privacy, and also in terms of impact on the environment, and first one, which is in this location, is already is a bridge, so excellence is it's energy scale. So in terms of impact, so the rainbows your impact is still about consultation, rejections, what's that, right? What we sort of address those issues and when we talk about maybe we can do what we see information was thinking also to allow obviously allow we'll see this going much increased which is I like to. So in principle, would be the potential of in problems and there's working with the side class eight and the potential we are subservient, satisfactory scaling the reasons the growth of conservation. Also, as was kind of that has mentioned someone and the objective provided by achievement. So French. So should also not used for construction policy mentioned scaffolds on investors and the overall small scale some of those on change management but this more schedules actually we look at the application rate will sit in 23 weeks of projects next is on and the patient one folks first even one piece of there was still this contribution well section we managed to achieve positive very well so so more which is well also to the So this is really the
Thank you very much, Roy. There are no speakers, so we'll on to questions from members of the committee. Anyone? There is none, pass, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. As somebody said, particularly from Fulham, this is the part that is probably behind the London. The first stuff on the educators, all that sort of stuff. And I wonder with the fact that we have a session straight above, if that would have any implication on potential opening hours very much in the power of this working within not very sound goes on. And so it's a difficult experience these brothers. So the position about some lots was to make
Good chair, there are conditions attached, and the changes are actually modest, specified of more the issues from kitchen redone. We'll leave the site actions to those, similar. There are issues on hours of beer garden, which is issue 21 on page 84. Essentially, it should before I take on the 10 months. Saturday. Those guys, that means you can say it's something. Or anything traffic glass. Would say like. There are some conditions attached, so you've got condition 4, which was one of those in the reads, divide the parts and movement stands for those installation. And so you've got it with external nuisance. There's also a separation of the noise sensitive rooms, so that's installation. Condition 5 is also another separation. For support us, but safeguard we will occupy the policy. So
Thank you very much, Councillor Pink.
Thank you, Mr. Councillor for Lily Warden and frequent supporter the Goose Pub and Pro, much welcome, to my colleague's question. Just to ask a follow up on those few conditions on the pub, are they, I'm trying to understand this from the papers, but I just want to get really clear, is that a significant change in terms of use of the garden? And so for maybe ask a second question at the same time, about the impact of the work ongoing in terms of scaffolding or any sort of blocking of the pavement around the building. Has there been a consideration of the potential impact of ongoing works on the pub for the construction is actually finished? This is by, as my colleague pointed out, this is a very it's very young pub and it's very important to people in the local area and one of those cases in London where I think we feel a sort of local community, and I think it's really important that we preserve that while also supporting the provision of new homes.
Just to add to that, but if you clarify what the expectation is that the bar will be closing during the month, so it will be continuing.
yeah, thank you, Chair. So obviously acknowledge it's a live month, and these conditions are not set to try to safeguard residents, and as well as neighbours in the present. In terms of impact on
potentially, it's, it can go out of some ways, if there are, this is really just trying to sort of develop further to say, so operation, actually, it's much more part. It's a channel. So it's the nice bit of this thing, so just additional. So, it's. Yeah. Then, mentioned work through construction of that's, cost temporary. There's even the program for work which we set out, with construction logistics, with the also something that's secured by additional else for the action. I think it's what works. We don't actually have duration of works yet, but once that's the established, Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, says there's obviously welcome additional housing to this proposal. I just want to pick up on the point you made at the end of the presentation there about the environmental aspects to this. It's not, I think it's not going to be possible to make any environmental improvements to this development.
The chair, so what we've been doing is the past we will try to negotiate for the optimize the development of the site, and to do that, I'm free to issue ceremonies and scheme and so that's that's for but it's professional and also floor space involved, less it's because of the problems, yes, doesn't want those issues.
Directly interrupt. I'm talking about environmental.
Yeah, yes. So because of the problems, exercise to try squeeze more money out of it. So what we have to see is that basically saying didn't have the funds to sort of contribute to so the measures see at least different scales the allocation. It's advisable something that was trying to achieve in our SCP, but it's the requirement to do it's for the thresholds. So what we have done is to get, let's say, 100,000 contributions towards the balance programs, which on balance, acceptable.
So if I'm sorry, is there no something like solar PV, anything that's
No, it's
disappointing, but I take your point in terms of the restrictions, I think the thresholds that need to be met. No further questions, Chair.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Questions? No, in that case, we can move on to voting. And first, on the recommendation one in the report is agreed. Councillor Penny voted for, against, or not voted for. Councillor Mason. For. Councillor Walsh. For. Councillor Bath-Blueberry. For. Councillor Rowland. For. And Alan Costello votes for. On whether recommendation two, the report is agreed. Councillor Penny. For. Councillor Mason. For. Councillor Walsh. For. Councillor Bath-Blueberry. For. Councillor Rowland, and now we'll possibly go to the then this item is approved. Thank you very much. We move straight on to item number 6, which is 1A Down Road, and Roy will give you a presenting, so whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm just going to buy your vote and measure of 720 when this wasn't agenda. But I think yeah, see and this the side with the application. So the real 720 votes come through that exercise and we make a study of that application. Really, some of that is just again, just a one small data which is around to us inserting excluding the seal station. So, with regulation. This application is for demolition of one house
which is Fulham Terrace, and they're basically three terrace houses. The reason this is going to committee because the delegation we then decided to approve of Fulham Terrace into legal license. One alterations relate to the room existing through seven also to install three SLC pumps solar on the roof and also to restore so this is the application site. I have side highlighted in red. That's the 1A Barnstable sites. We involve see this job 29722 and then beyond that is involve 70 towards parts site that is purchase that. And the site itself is essentially associated associated. There's an aerial shot shows the site's country style roads. Building, involves the rear, buildings and the application from rear, which is specific to buildings ENI, regards the rear as regards directly with fire protection. This is just shown on the street with Kelly sites, and then we've got the rear garden within the government. Well, 70 which is part of the Kelly site. Exceeding boundary which is one A beyond that of 70 hours by the site from locally which belongs to which belongs for this is just a little shame what's condition given out. Yeah. So in terms of what we've got two images. So this is quite a hard section with observation of the existing building, which is highlighted to be red vertical lines and that's the observation. Seated about 30 boxes, which also ideas below we see just one as we use as the terrace to achieve alpha. So if you like it's a continuation. To the right hand side we see two on the balance with some really shows with the 45 group so this is the policy order which is looking by which I was mentioned have similar so that's the policy. The delivery square too much adjacent social parties to the GC on just managed the rears, some of that cycles back, but still like right inside of the basis of models. So down to the top of the roof. This is just looking towards this rear one in the road. These are lots several lots which are out on site. The right hand side shows both things. Existing side, it's not the large. This is just showing the size, so this is not seen when looking east. So we just show that line business building that changed from the current arrangement with the massive being increased that floor level step back. So we really low. Some floor plans. On the process, so this orange lines on gate. So that one, there's one actually probably essentially which is where it's not projecting to when it's really not good projecting to the essentially sort of the application, so it's showing Yeah, it's just existing, the ground floors that see, sort of arrangements, ground floors. And first floor. Then second floor, notably, see how it's that reduced with that, so that it projects 2 bars for the best impact on the passing, from the road. So the flowings that we established, already, it's just what's the impact on levels, the rules, so they can really run. And that's, so this property here is, it's going to be one A, and start to the north, it's number one, so that again, you can see the window here. And it's there, it's also, with, she's swimming it out, and but before then, it's this line. More than most, they will be fine. No, what we use it was not, we're not looking at. So it's really, it's set up the boundary, set the body, ocean. It's a bit of a, step with, and this is all set back, so that it removes control. We put the 45 remark on the USJ, actually based on development. So, sitting around looking at, with the general, that's proposal. Flats, which runs, in the road. You can see there's some of them that, those symbols we looked at in terms of, like some of the systems. Over some 170 individual cases in around up to, 97 some of them, ones. Fortunately, now, I would say the number of days in that family, the versus the adjacent school. One to one. Which is. It's one, seven, which is the maximum school about 7 weeks in grace for them. Just which is one of the ones that is actually practice and she runs Fulham. So energy for the family, which has 10 buildings in terms of the impact they are 2 bedrooms but not so future called which is basically the lower ground of this party. And you can see it's basically these 2 windows in 455 or whatever was it's not really like spots and message seeing nice nowadays photographs to them and short bar and looking for fun art but not a base so very much still because not very close to the boundary. Something I was seeing about around, and stuff which is this below the 5. So before you something important on the cities change the store to site. So it's actually contracts and bonds. It's one out of 70, 720, which is low ground, 3 bedroom barn, which is a small. You won't certainly see so So then inside the road target to the paths to the very violation paths or at the violation. So in terms of highways, it's house green, to the use of the car roads, some of those balance, but doing. The consideration. Stated in some large states last year, the city parks, storage arrangements were located to storage units in. So overall, the building businesses is board. Technically, there's to run of this to have then. Also, adjacent conservation level, also accommodation, stands, and refrigeration. In this case, was my main balance, measures for sustainability, but it's from actually which you SLC on so to side. This has big 13,000 massage nothing really lost. You don't see this is to 60 centuries so I think that's so
Thank you very much, Lloyd. We will move straight into questions from members of the committee. Are there any questions or comments? Councillor Glastonbury.
Sorry, obviously this is looking at, and it's flashing the thoughts, saying that the notice, quite well. And presumably when these things are to get as listed ability, there's a reason for it. And I was wondering if you could give us a bit of background on should kind of put together assessment for buildings on the live. I'm probably about last week. I think we showed some sort of process with I think like some years ago in space, it's a new change. What we have last night for just the new standards of the committee. So our local list has been updated good significant amount of time since the exam the local list was updated. Other boroughs have followed with the National Planning Force Programme and guidance how to prepare a local list. So the current convention, so there is a kind of a standard referral process and checklist that's followed, so actually going through as you say, the national national designation of areas just that. In terms of criteria, that you are technically use historical value, all of those criteria play. Unfortunately, when our list is put together, those criteria play some things could say did exercise and then get buildings, which could warrant consideration for our local list. In terms of looking at the demolition of building and merit as part of our list, we do look at obviously the kind of the sort of use of the building, we look at the architectural character of the building, and also the interiors as well, to look at whether that was justified. So in this instance, consider the three very limited real character in this film, warrant attention. And again, if the local list was forward for renewal, we have to look at against criteria potentially support for this.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? No, in that case, we'll move on voting. First, on whether this one report is agreed, Councillor Trenny, any for, against, or not? For. Councillor Painter. For. Councillor Walsh. For. Councillor Tilbury. For. councillor Rowland, 4, and councillor Wood, 4. And then on the recommendation between the report is 3, councillor Craig, councillor Painter, 4, councillor Walsh, 4, councillor Tilbury, 4, and councillor Rowland, 4. And councillor Rose, 4, and that the item is approved. Thank you very much. We'll move on to our final item, which is item number 7, which is 38 Waterford Road, and we'll have Ronnie Fleming to present the reports.
I think for Fulham and the plan officer in start with and that's about those communication. So presenting for number 10 is the Waterford Road, which is 70. Sorry, first time was within functions to be redundant. So before I can do that. So page 165, we need to take the terms of the legal agreement for from the council recommendation. Just for this start, there's no legal agreement for this application. It's just like a potential extension. Okay. And also, page 165, we need to include revised running rules, which are listed. And moving on to page 160, which are showing for me. And page 160, stick on the condition of staff, and lastly, it is a verbal amendment because of increasing. So page 180, we do the first sentence and also the third sentence. We need to add this sentence to address construction area concerns, raising the objections. Construction of farm is reviewed by condition. This provides a mitigation against potential construction impacts on Hammersmith and residential needs. So the minimum mitigation. So the first is one direction of a re-extension of first floor on top of the existing accommodation, and also creation of a roof terrace above both extension at second floor level, bound by a two-place screening for previous mentioned. Okay. So application context. So this is the application site. First one, the showing application site of the clarification. As you can see, it's the west of the street. And yeah, it's about very yeah, it's a very long terrace, but near the application is an access for terrace and redevelopment, which is called Clare Roots. It's access on the of the area, which is access to the the next part is showing the location in the construction area. The construction area is a small park. And the side is also west, the conservation area is sketched. So area views. So we've got front, which is facing this. So that's the first sculpture. So we've looked at the number of times to make these ourselves. So yeah, you can see the underpass, that's the next number 40. Pointing here. And then the rear, again, you see number property, and then showing how you get the Clare Roots, which is the last building down here. There's parking area in this bit here, and also there's only a parking under the building at Clare Roots. Okay. So the proposal, so here we're showing the allocation of cross sections. If you look at the cross section of cross section at the top here. So we're showing you the extension in the other. You can see it's offset from the reallocation of the floor below by mix. And then above that we've got the terrace screening, also terrace screening. Okay, the property has got like a lower ground, upper ground, first, and then second, which is habitable space, mansard. Then we're showing you on the other side. We've got the extension of the gate, the carpet on top. It's about, well, here, and terrace 12. The depth of the extension is about 3.2 meters. And, the terrace would be about half the depth of the extension below. Also, in the extension, we are proposing to put a window at the ridge foundation. This window is this one here, shown in red, and also you can see on the section drawing here. Crucially, this window will be up to bridge as well because it's within 18 meters from the properties at the ridge. Okay. So you have floor plans, just go through them, but the ground floor, first floor, where the extension is, which show you what the reserve bedroom. So the reason that we got the ridge is because originally we wanted to be to the side, but we thought that if the put the window there, increase the ability of desktop property to do something similar should be an issue in the future. So we've happened to relocate the window to the relocation. And you see the terrace from next floor plan, second floor plan, and also we are proposing windows on first and ground floor. This small, moving on. So this is the greater context. So we show you here the number of properties along the terrace, which have done like similar first floor extension, not necessarily with the terrace, but at least if they're done because something at first floor or related to the proposal. So yeah, we're there, and I'm just showing you the two photos. Okay, so as you can see, the start field code. Okay. So this photograph here showing you the neighborhood window. So the two neighbors are in 40 and 36. And 40, you see that showing you two kitchen windows. However, it's important to remember that the kitchen on the 30 square meters are not past the side of the room, so for the purpose of the outside, you don't have to. Okay, so next door, number 36. We show you the window there, so that the staircase, so you know how to remove that. It's another. So if we move on. So that was my question. We're showing you some view of the application side. So front you can see the terrace, post terrace where the application side is. You have a really configured views, which is the one I showed you before as a upper development. So you can see the view from the application side looking towards where the news. The reason I'm showing this is to show you how close the relationship be. And dimensions taken to address that, so not too great either. And moving on, so in terms of consultation, we have 11 votes on representation from residents, neighbours. So we have 10 objections and 1 support comment. So to start with the objections, we've got issues like food design and fact that the office property for conservation area. We've got people saying that there are living examples of similar development, be overbearing of the development, the minimum form, loss of privacy or looking, insufficient screening, noise disturbing, both from the terrace and from construction activities during the process. Worsening of an existing pool situation, missing information, drawings, no data assessment. This implies that those block size. The extension plan next week. Number of applicable concerns, which are these are time lapse before. And then we've got one comment saying that there will be like negative compound impact on neighborhood community, and then positive impact of that school to get bigger. And moving on, so some impact assessment. So in terms of design, feedback is observing, technical accountability, the wide terrace view in the craft of the conservation area. In terms of the neighborhood impact, here I have some. As I've shown you before, there are no kind of windows technique. Nearest windows are all on capital. Okay, outlook, the variance judgment, the existing building orientation for battery line. So on balance, we'll even tackle the previous festival, previously. We've got one, obviously clear window, and then terrace green at 1.7 meter. The living at the top of the building. No, it's a small terrace, it can't hold that many people to sort of give rise to like high level of noise from people gathering. And also in terms of construction marking, especially in traffic movement, etc., of emission for CLB. So recommendation is that you approve and then you make any changes to condition or adding and finish. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you very much, Ronnie. We move on to questions from the committee and questions Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Chair. Could you please go to the slide where you have the images of all the back gardens? Further along. Sorry, we've got a far there. I'll pause you there. It's more of a question for our design and heritage team here, and it's purely asking spirit of understanding, because we've had a number of applications where rear extensions have been proposed. As I look at the image on the right hand side here, in my perspective, that looks like a relative uniformity. You have what appears to be 4 back extensions, all which seem to be pretty much the same, slope slightly to one side. And if I just look at number 38 is the one where the extension is going, that's got what seems to be a relative element of symmetry. I just want to understand where we weight these things. So we've had this before. I just want to understand how we're supposed to weigh this idea that aesthetics and uniformity at the rear of properties.
Ronnie, is the best to go to slide 7, because I think that might show better context. So I think you're right, there is a group of properties from 32 to 38 where there is a similar relationship, but if you then go to the other extent of the series, you can see there's far more variations than extensions. So I think on balance, as well as taking a view of that whole series, as we talked to last week, it's not really, there are a number of those extensions. I think also because the look of nature of this one, it's not, there is not still the main question for the people who should this.
So that's purely in this very understanding in this case. So thank you very much for your explanation. With other questions.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? Nope. In that case, we move to voting. First, on whether recommendation 1 in the report is agreed, Councillor Bailey and vote for, against, both for. Councillor Painter.
For.
Councillor Walsh. For. Councillor Tilbury. For. Councillor Boland. For. And I will also be voting for. Then on to recommendation number 2, Councillor Bailey. For. Councillor Painter.
For.
Councillor Walsh. For. Councillor Tilbury. For. Councillor Boland.
For.
And I will also be voting for. That the item is approved. Thank you very much. And that brings us to the end of the meeting. I want to thank everyone who participated. When I have 37 used graphs today, which is not bad for honest evening's work. Thank you all very much, and we'll approve the minutes of the meeting at our next meeting, which is on the 28th of October 2025. And